What's up, guys? Big Papa Leads here, and today I'm going to talk about sales because sales is important, and this is the simple sales script that helps me sell over $150,000 in leads every single month. This helps me close 80 to 90% of the clients I speak with, and this obviously all depends on if you can generate these conversations in the first place. So if you haven't already, go watch my video where I talk about acquiring clients using Instantly. Instantly gets me couple conversations a week, and again, I close a very high percentage of them. Not to toot my own horn, I think it's a part of it is because people are getting that email, and if they respond, they're probably pretty interested. So when they get on the phone with me, I'm able to show them why they should work with us. And I'll go through the script in a second, but I'll talk about quickly why I think people work with me. This is going to sound very pretentious, but I think it's just because I'm generally a decently trustworthy guy. I'm a normal looking dude. People feel like they can trust me, which they can. We deliver great results. We do good work. We have a track record of delivering leads that convert. But that's something, if you don't have right off the bat, if you go into a call and you're excuse me, hello, you're freaking out, you're not being a Chad, you're being you're scared, people are going to recognize that pretty quickly, and they're not going to trust you. So when you go into these calls, make sure that you're exuding confidence. Practice in front of the mirror if you have to. Hopefully you've maybe done some sales before, but you're going to see in a second, I don't like to do any sort of high pressure sales or anything like that. I just tell the people what I do and I let them decide. But I like to start by asking them some questions. So let's jump right into it. But before I do, make sure you join the free Discord, because this template is in the free Discord. I'm not going to put it in the YouTube description. You got to join the Discord to get it. There's also, there's cold email templates. There's this template, and there is a follow-up template to this that I send via email to close the client and get their first payment in. So again, that's in the absolutely free Discord with over 800 members. If you're not in there, you are doing something wrong. You got to join. All right. So questions to ask on a lead gen call. And this is kind of the flow of how things go when I get on a call. My calls last 20 to 30 minutes, I'd say. I do them over Google Meets. They're booked automatically, usually through my Instantly, as I mentioned, through Calendly. I like to use Calendly because it's just easy to use. And first thing I do is ask them where they're located. I tell them I'm from Canada. They love Canadians. They trust me. They trust me right away. I talk about how cold it is here and how warm it probably is there wherever they live. I talk to a lot of people in like California, Arizona, Florida, so it's an easy conversation starter. Maybe we have some other things in common, football fans or whatever it might be. And I asked them right off the bat, just what made you want to get on a call today? Why'd you book this call? And they kind of go into, usually, obviously they might be looking for leads. Maybe they've bought leads before. They're struggling to generate enough business, or they're just looking to grow right now. And the second prodding question I ask is, what experience do you have purchasing leads, if any, and what happened? Or if they've already mentioned that they've bought leads, I ask them, so what didn't work out there? Why did those leads not work out? Why are we having this call today? And again, maybe they've answered some of that, but I like to kind of dig into that. What was the reason that they're not working with that previous company? And that's really, I think, just if you can just ask that question and get your prospect talking, that's going to do so much work for you, because they're going to think about all the pain in the ass moments they had working with other lead generators that generated terrible leads. They are going to have a wall up because of that when they're working with you. So you need to let them know why you're, going to be better than the last guy. But if we can bring out that previous negative experience that they had, we can help solve that on this call, or at least get the conversation rolling. So next question, what experience do you have working digital leads? So again, this might have been answered to some extent, but maybe they've bought a few leads, or maybe they're managing 100 leads today. I want to know that they hopefully have some experience working digital leads, because if they don't, I need to make sure I set this conversation up very specifically, and I need to do it properly. The reason is because if they've worked digital leads before, they're going to know how to work Facebook leads. They're going to know how to work Google leads. These leads need to be chased down. They need to be called multiple times. If they've never worked digital leads, they're going to call the lead once and be like, they didn't answer. These leads suck. And then it's not going to go anywhere. So I like to talk with people who have only maybe bought in a few leads, or maybe digital leads are a new thing for them. And I like to tell them, hey, you got to call these leads like 20 times. And they're going to be like, that's so many times. And like, yeah, these are like the warmest of the cold leads you can get. And they're like, well, referrals are better than that. I'm like, okay, well then go get 100 referrals a day. You can't do it. This you can turn on and off like a tap. You can have these leads. I can give you 5 leads a day. I can give you 25. I can give you 100 a day. They're going to keep coming in. And if you can crack the code on how to close these leads, you're going to have a lead source that's going to go on indefinitely. And I like to obviously tell them that I'm going to work with them. We're going to improve the quality of the leads as we go. We're going to ask certain questions that help them find the ideal client and help their sales process. And I literally just basically said to you guys what I would reiterate to them. So I would reiterate the response. I'd say, okay, so, if you've had problems in the past with lead generators, your sales team struggle with this, you've only worked referral leads, yada, yada. Okay, so let me tell you a bit about what we do quickly. So I talk about our background. Again, they don't really care about this. This is just letting them know that, we've been doing this for a while. We at least sound legit. I talk to them about our funnel, how we ask 10 to 12 questions, how we get rid of tire kickers, how we text verify. These are all things that 95% of the time their old lead generator did not do. So this is where I'm kind of digging into the problems they've had in the past. And I can tell them, hey, we asked a bunch of questions. We use a quiz. We run ads all across, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, not just Facebook. We do text verification. We replace any leads that have fake information. We're not going to make you pay for a lead that picks up the phone and tells you to F off or, is in somewhere in Russia. Like, we're not making you pay for that lead. And that really helps them become more comfortable. And I also tell them, like I said before, we can deliver the leads at any rate you prefer. You can pause at any time. There's no contracts, nothing like that. And I actually tell them that I like to start a bit slower so that we can get a good feedback loop going. I expect them to be giving me a weekly report every single week so that I can make updates to the ads as needed. I can pivot things. I can change things. I can look at the data to improve things for them. And I like to end it by saying, hey, this is a partnership that I'm looking for. Some people say like, oh, everyone says that, but you can just reiterate, I'm not looking to make a quick buck off this first order. I'm looking to have a long-term business relationship with you guys. So that's why I'm willing to put the work in here. Obviously not sounding too cheesy when you say that, but I kind of reiterate that or tell them that whole process. And then I just say, any questions about that process? And they might have a few questions about, where do the leads come from? How do you generate them? What do your ads look like? I tell them we have dozens of ads and I can share them some examples if they want. They don't usually ask that though. And if they're a good client, they probably won't ask that. That's all I'll say about that. I've had a lot of clients over time, and I will say the majority of the ones that ask, can I see your ads, don't end up working out because they want too much control over the process and there's not trust. But the clients that are like, yeah, go for it. Send me some leads. Those ones scale with me. So take that with a grain of salt, but that's just the reality that I've seen. And let me see here. What do I got next? Usually it's how much do they cost or how much can I have to buy? Sorry. So they usually ask me what's the cost, and I tell them we start with a 50 lead order minimum. That gives us the once you've placed that order, that allows us to set everything up for you. Shows that you're committed. We set up your landing pages. We set up your connections to your CRM. We can deliver those 50 leads at any rate you prefer, as I said, and we can kind of start and stop whenever you need. We can deliver during work hours, whatever it might be. And they usually order. So I send them an invoice. Sometimes they want to do 25 leads. Sometimes they want to, talk about price and all these things. And there's different situations, but I stick to my guns for the most part. I would say not even for the most part, but I always stick to my guns and just say, that's the cost. I will say I will do smaller orders because I've had big clients start with like 20 leads. So that's about it. But I don't really go down on price ever because I know what my leads cost and I know I need to sell them for. So, and I just tell them that it's like, I just can't make it work at that price. I'd love to do a trial at the price that we talked about and we can continue to improve quality. I also tell them I'm going to over deliver on that first order. You might order 50 leads, but you're going to get 65 on this order because I want to make sure that I replace any bad info, replace any hoax leads, fix any issues that we're having. There's also a transcript here of what a sales call could look like and that final email that I send as well. So after I have this call, I'll usually send a follow-up email with all this information here, just talking about what we talked about on the call, showing what a lead looks like. And then I book a calendar invite, or I send a calendar invite for 2 days from today so that we can have a follow-up call. I just book it. I don't tell them. And I just say, if you need to cancel, let me know. But this allows you to make sure that, you're on their mind still. And I mean, if they just order right away, that can just be a launch call or a kind of like a discovery call, onboarding call, getting things ready for them to launch. But a lot of times if I'm already established in a niche, this call will be like they can pay and I can have them set up in 48 hours. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys today. This video is brought to you by the Bootcamp. So if you want to join the Bootcamp, it is $99 for your first month. You can get $50 off the price by using code FIRST50. So it is usually $149 a month. You get it for $99 in the first month. You get access to all our templates, a comprehensive course on lead generation, a private Discord, and a group call with myself every single week. And if you sign up for the whole year, you get a one-on-one consulting call with me to use at your pleasure. You can use it whenever you want. So hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully you go and crush sales and absolutely giga chat everybody, and they just want to pay you because you're so good at sales. Oh man, I'm a little tired, guys. I'm jet lagged. All right, we'll see you in the next one.